High school football is on the air on CMAC. From Sunnyside Stadium in southeast Fresno, it's the Selma Bears and the host Sunnyside Wildcats. Stan Taylor with Fred Clark as the Selma High Bears put this one in play. Glad you're with us here on CMAC. That is Sunnyside High's Dakova Sneed, who we saw flash brilliance last season as just a sophomore as he brings the opening kickoff out to about the 40-yard line. And Fred Clark, these are two teams who've enjoyed quite a bit of success the last couple of seasons, but it's a different year for both Selma High and Sunnyside.
Yes, both teams started out 0-2. Characteristic for Sunnyside, not quite for the Selma Bears. Sunnyside has rebounded to win the NYL the last 3 years in a row. Good run back by Sneed. Let's see what the Wildcat offense has.
Gordon Wood traditionally has enjoyed going with a very tough opening schedule. For the first play from scrimmage, a 13-yard gain. And Sunnyside crossing over into Selma Bear territory. Mark A. Williams has drawn the start at quarterback. Now they seem to be doing a little bit of shuffling. The sophomore, Ekin Vu, comes in, and he has been a real surprise thus far for the Wildcats. Devon Jones, touchdown Sunnyside. Devon Jones takes that pass from the 47-yard line, gets around the near sideline, and takes it all the way in for a Sunnyside High score on their second play from scrimmage.
What do you know, Dan? A two-play drive for 60 yards, and they really changed the pace. Jones had the ball both times, and the Bear defense is going to have to react a little bit better than that. They were just not prepared at all to come in and defense that.
Gordon Wood attempts to go for two, and it is stopped cold.
Another Sunnyside tradition. He usually will not go for an extra point early in the game. He likes to get on the board and score a lot early on.
Well, scoring points has not come easy for Sunnyside this year, but they made it look easy on that first possession.
Well, we're going to see what happens later on. Selma was shell-shocked, and last week they got beat 47-0 against Independence down in Bakersfield. And that was the worst loss for a Selma team in 12 years. I believe they lost to Dinuba in 2004 by that same score. But in this fourth season under Matt Logue, the Bears have been tough. They've been physical. We'll see how they rebound after that quick scored touchdown.
Matt Logue has done a tremendous job of rebuilding the Sunnyside High program. He's had some very successful seasons in his 4 years at the helm. Former standout linebacker at Sacramento State. And now his team will receive the kick from Sunnyside, and they will go on the attack trying to get their offense sorted out for this season. And it's a short pooch kick. And they're going to get some extra yardage out of that. The Sunnyside player had called for the fair catch. That was number 20, Adam Rodriguez, making the fair catch call. And he was hit by the defender, so they're going to pick up a few more yards on the play.
I've never been a fan of the pooch kick. I'm still not. Even with that penalty that's going to add 15 and put it into Sunnyside territory, Selma's got good field position.
Our first time on the air thus far this season. Glad those of you who have tuned in on AT&T 99 and Comcast 94, and also on CMAC.tv on the website. We remind you that when Fred Clark is talking about not liking pooch kicks, that comes from his experience as a special teams coach. And throughout the night in our telecast throughout the season, you're going to hear Fred talk about things he definitely does not like about special teams play.
And that's one of them. I mean, you go out, you find yourself a young man that can kick the ball in the end zone, let him go from their own 20.
1st and 10 for Selma High. Rodriguez on the option, pickup of about 8 yards. Down to the 30, well, they're going to spot it at the 39-yard line.
This is going to be one of Sunnyside's concerns. Coach Wood was telling us they don't have one player on their defense that started last year. Quite rare. And Selma, the strength of their team is supposedly their offensive line.
Joey Ramirez at quarterback as they're running out of the option, and that's something that has been their tradition these last 4 years, is to lead with the run, grind it out as best they can, and pass where opportunity presents itself.
And in the Selma playbook, the opportunity to present itself with a pass is not happening very often. They like to ground and pound, line it up, run at you.
Well, thus far they're having success being able to run the football. As 1st and 10, just inside the 35-yard line. I will not, Fred, as you have taught me over the past 2 years, say the 34 and a half.
Good.
And Ramirez with the keeper. Crosses the 30-yard line, picks up about 5 yards on the carry. Now they're going to give him an extra yard. They'll spot it down to the 28 and give him a gain of 6.
And Selma so far is having a lot of success running between the tackles.
Messenger receiver Pat Angelo coming in from the far sideline. Out of that option, Angelo takes it. Off tackle, and he's down near the 20-yard line. So thus far, Sunnyside has not proven an ability to stop the Selma High School run.
Number 71, the center for the Selma Bears, Michael Renovato, has been open up holes. He's only 5'8". He goes 295 pounds. He's got a good step off of the ball, and he's making a big hole every time he snaps.
Now they're going to go with a toss sweep to the far side, and Sunnyside has that snuffed out, and that will lose 2 yards. A lot of enthusiasm in the stands beneath us. Sunnyside with a big freshman class here experiencing their first varsity football game. All the way through the senior class, thundersticks have been passed out. A larger than last year cheer squad down on the track below, and a marching band down near the 30-yard line, keeping the fans plenty enthused and excited. 3rd down and 2. Ramirez with the keeper.
You were close, Dan. Now it's going to be 3rd down and, what are we going to call that, 8? And I think the Bears need to go back to that bread and butter until Sunnyside can stop them going between the tackles. I think they're just going to pound at it. Sunnyside has a lot of speed on the outside. I think it's going to be tough for Selma to run outside on them.
Looking now at about a 3rd and 8 from just inside the 20-yard line. And they're looking to throw the football. Short toss complete, and it is not just a first down, it is a touchdown to Aaron Blancas, the sophomore wide receiver.
It's like that, the scoreboard lights are going to be busy tonight, Dan.
You called it. 2 teams that had not done much scoring coming in, but the feeling is that they're very evenly matched. Let's take one more look at it as Sunnyside got good pressure on Ramirez, but he was able to get the pass away and had a wide open side of the field.
That's the Bears' first touchdown. They lost the first game against Kerman 21-2, and they were shut out last week, so new crowd established for the Bears.
And the extra point is good, which puts Selma on top by a 7-6 score here in the first quarter from Sunnyside Stadium.
The crowd that was making so much noise early on, Dan, that touchdown by the Bears put them down just a little bit. This is one of the biggest crowds I've seen Sunnyside have. Haven't seen a crowd like this in I think since 2010 when they won the CMAC championship.
No, there's a great deal of enthusiasm here at Sunnyside Stadium tonight. Glad you're with us here on CMAC Community Media Access Collaborative. As we've talked over the past couple of seasons, this is an educational opportunity, and tonight it is students from Sunnyside High School who are staffing the cameras and other responsibilities. They're doing a terrific job thus far. Delighted to have them involved. Well, the kick goes to the far side, and that is Dakova Sneed looking up the middle, and now comes to the near side. He's got a block. Dakova Sneed brought down by Adam Rodriguez at the, looks like at about the 42-yard line.
Sneed's quite a weapon when he has some space. That's a second kickoff return of almost 30 yards.
Well, and I think what's impressive about him, impressive about a high school athlete doing what he does, is he shows a lot of patience. He's able to let the blocking get set up. A lot of times, younger players just want to get that ball and go. And he very wisely surveys the field, looks for the holes, and more importantly, waits for his blockers to get set up. First and 10 from the 44-yard line for the Wildcats. Gives straight up the gut, and he's got a lot of room to run. Devon Jones with his second trip down of the night.
56 yards down, and he was barely touched.
So 3 plays for the Sunnyside High Wildcats, and 2 touchdowns are already on the board. And both scored by the junior running back, Devon Jones, as we'll take another look at it coming up here. Elias Solis, the sophomore, boots it through, and we now have a 13-7 Sunnyside lead.
A little bit of a surprise. I thought Coach Wood was going to go for 2 again on that one. You never know for sure, though, when they line up in that these different hybrid versions of the swinging gate.
Well, this could be an interesting night.
Yes,
Sunnyside with 3 offensive plays has 2 scores. And we saw Selma march the length of the football field and do an impressive job of driving in for a touchdown with a series of off-tackle runs, 1 failed toss sweep, and then a short pass that wound up going for the score.
Yes, Sunnyside showing some explosiveness right now, and I did not think, even with that one-sided loss that Selma had last week, that their defense would be the sieve that it's shown in 3 plays tonight.
My guess, Fred, you being a former special teams coach, the one adjustment that if you were on the Selma High bench right now that you would make is not to kick the ball to Dakova Sneed.
Right.
Again, a short pooch kick, fair catch called for by Adam Rodriguez at about the 38-yard line, and that's where the Selma Bears will begin their second possession.
I wouldn't kick the ball to Sneed. I wouldn't try a pooch kick. And for the life of me, Dan, I cannot understand why teams don't squib it. And I'm not talking about the onside kick, but when you squib the kick down the middle, it's like hitting a knuckleball in baseball. You don't know how it's going to bounce. It's very difficult to pick up and go, and it's much easier to defend because it gives the attacking team a leg up on you.
Receiver in motion. Straight down the middle, wide open Selma High receiver. That is Brian Ching, brought down at the 25-yard line. Joey Ramirez throws the defense with a nice fake to Pat Angelo, who was in motion. As you see right here, then right down the middle to a wide open Brian Ching.
He was so open. See, there would have been a little bit more air under the ball, he would have been gone.
First and 10, Selma Bears. Give is snuffed out for about a 5-yard loss, and that was Brian Ching on the reverse.
That was going nowhere.
Ching motioning to the bench, tapping his face mask, and I'm not sure if he's asking for a breather or if he is saying that, hey, we should have had a call on that.
Well, our monitor's a little bit smaller than usual, and I didn't see anything when the play went down, but there were a lot of bodies in there.
There were. So now we're looking at about a 2nd and 13 from the 30-yard line And we've got motion and penalty flags. Five yards marched off against Selma High. We are now looking at about second down and 18. Rolling right. Ramirez throws. Just overthrows his receiver Brian Ching. That's going to bring up a third down.
Well, the Bears have only tried twice running outside on Sunnyside. Both times have been stopped for big losses, and that really shuts down their type of running game that they're successful at. And then they have to go to the air, and when the Bears go to the air, it's, usually doesn't work out that well.
Well, as you pointed out earlier, they were running so effectively off tackle, and now they've completely gone away from it.
Yeah.
I can understand trying to test the outside, seeing if you pull that defense in, either pulled it in to the point where you have the opportunity to effectively run outside, or pulled it up enough to where you can throw over the top of it. And they have shown they've been able to throw over it, but they have not been able to run outside against this Sunnyside defense.
Exactly, and I'm sure the Selma coaches up in the air here, the ones they're aware of this. It's just a matter of getting the right adjustments at the time.
Student managers bringing the water out, not as much a problem tonight as it was a couple of weeks ago when we opened the season with some very, very hot temperatures. But a nice night tonight. Flags across the way, rippling in the breeze. Great crowd here at Sunnyside High Stadium. You just saw a look at the home team side of the Southeast Fresno Stadium, as a big crowd has turned out for the home opener for the Wildcats.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago in week one, you had all kinds of players cramping up. The heat was intense, and you just can't prepare for the game time. In the scrimmages, the workouts, you cannot compare for the speed, and then hence you have the cramp problems.
Going for it all, 3rd and 18. And we've got a penalty flag flying and an interference call coming.
And not much doubt on the interference call. The ball wasn't played at all, but in high school, it's not a spot foul. It's a 15-yard penalty. So it's still going to be
about 3 yards short.
Yeah. And Dan, in the NFL, I would like to see two types of pass interference. Some that's a little bit vague like that, call that the 15. I mean, when you yank a guy down from behind, yeah, make that a spot penalty. But you hate to see a 40 or a 50-yard gain on something that's a little bit vague.
Good point. Now that's going to bring the ball into the 19-yard line. And that will set up a 3rd down and about 3. Give goes to Pat Angelo.
It's going to be close. I think he may have got it maybe by the nose of the football.
And they are motioning that it is indeed a 1st down. Signaling for the flags across the way to move up. Toss back to the running back, and that's Aaron Moreno with his first carry of the night. Trying to go off tackle with a little bit of deception, but it doesn't generate a whole lot, about a yard.
Well, Sunnyside closed the gap real quick. He's waiting for his blockers to open a hole for him. He's trying to be patient, hit the hole. The only small hole closed up real quick.
13-7 our score. Sunnyside has scored twice on 3 offensive plays. Very explosive long runs. This is Ramirez. Let's fly in and out of the hands of a defender.
That was a pass that should not have been thrown.
But a young quarterback under pressure, we see that happen so often at this level.
And every now and then, something will go right. But very close to a pick on that.
But 9 times out of 10 in film study on Monday, they're pointing that out and giving the young man a lesson.
Eat the ball or take off.
Brings us 3rd down and 9. Ball rests on about the 15-yard line. Big play for the Selma Bears, who have very impressively marched thus far about 40 yards from the start of this drive, just as they did with their opening drive that they capped with a touchdown. Timeout call from the Selma sideline. They want to talk this play over, understandably. A big play. The difference for them between potentially 6 or 3 points.
Or no points. From 32 yards at this level, something that makes you field goal. If you have a good field goal kicker that can consistently hit it between 30 and 40, you got yourself a weapon.
Indeed, and Landon Oswaldo showed a very strong leg in pregame. Thus far, the only mistake he's made is on those 2 kickoffs. He's kicked it off to Dakota Sneed, who has been able to get some very big runbacks.
Yeah, we'll see if that's rectified on the Bears' next kickoff.
Gordon Wood has talked to his defense. He has sent them back out onto the field over on the opposite side. The Bears around their head coach, and now they come back out to run their key 3rd down play. 3rd and 9, ball on the 15-yard line. Selma trailing 13-7. 5:07 remaining here in the first quarter from Sunnyside Stadium. Glad you're with us tonight here on CMAC.
Screen.
And he's got some room. Cuts up
Sure
and scores. Pat Angelo takes the screen, punches it in for the touchdown. And if that's what they discussed on the far sideline during that timeout, well, they ran it to perfection.
It worked, and Sunnyside bought all in. I mean, they came, nobody picked Angelo up coming out of the backfield. Just pulled it in, as we'll see here.
Blockers were well set up.
Just waited for 1 second, saw that gap, and flew into the end zone.
And the extra point is good, which puts Selma High back on top by a score of 14-13 here in the first quarter of play from Sunnyside Stadium.
Well, Dan, we've seen games like this over the years, and you'll have the team that's the slower, more plodding team, and then the team that's got the air raid offense or some hybrid version of that, and they just go down and score in less than a minute and a half. Then the other team will take several minutes off the clock, slowly work their way downfield and score.
Well, I think one of the things to watch on the bench is going to be the effect of those 2 long drives on the Sunnyside defense. How's their conditioning this early in the season? In the heat that they have been working out in, and are they going to be able to continue to try to slow, if not shut down, these long drives?
Well, they've given up 85 points in the first 2 games, so we shall see.
Landon Oswaldo to kick off for the Bears, and he kicks a shorter kickoff this time to one of the up men. Fan Van, the sophomore, and he is brought down at the 34-yard line.
Well, that was a little bit better.
That was Dylan von Panchahek.
Well, the Wildcats now have 65 yards to go. They still got great field position, and Selma adjusted to a point, but we'll see what happens the next time around. You don't want to give a team the ball at the 35, right? That's 3 straight now. Could have been worse.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. The quick toss, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Dakota Sneed. Egenvu, just a sophomore, has won that starting job, and you've mentioned in your chats with Gordon Wood, he's very excited about this young man.
Yeah, his maturity, just a sophomore, and against Clovis West in a scrimmage, he was real impressive a couple of weeks ago for such a young man.
Second down 10. Give comes to the near side. Oh, he breaks a tackle. Still on his feet, knocked out of bounds. Let's see where they spot that. It looks like they're going to spot it back at the 41-yard line.
That was unfortunate for Selma. They had him stopped for virtually no gain, and he was able to squeeze out. Almost broke it again, Dan.
That was Devon Jones, who has been very impressive thus far.
This is Sunnyside's first third down of the evening.
Ball spotted at the 41-yard line. Third down and just under 5 yards. Quick shot, that is complete for the first down. Wrapped up and brought down across midfield.
And Selma's defensive front right now, they're making adjustments. They're trying a lot of things to stop them. I mean, they pretty much gave Sunnyside an opening on that last play just to blast up the middle.
That was Elias Solis, the sophomore. Nice catch and run. So first down, quick quarterback switch. Miles Williams, I believe, is in the backfield, and he's going to keep it. No, correction. That's Marquez Williams with the keeper, and he loses about 3 yards.
Good pursuit by the Bears. Dan, I wanted to point out something that's very impressive about you. You were one of the few people I know that says sophomore, which is the correct way to say sophomore. The rest of us say sophomore and leave the O out. There's only one other. I had a 10th grade English teacher that did that, and I hated that guy.
Thanks for the compliment, I think.
It was meant to be.
Oh, I appreciate it. You're great, Fred. Was raised well, taught well. Second down pass coming out to the near side of Marquez Williams, and he is knocked out of bounds. Correction, that is Van knocked out of bounds. They'll spot it at the 38-yard line.
It's a little bit short of the first down.
That'll bring up a third. I don't know if they're going to move it back just a tad. Yeah, it's at the 38-yard line, the spot, so it's a 3rd and 3.
Well, Selma's crowding the line a little bit more now that they haven't been doing it in the last few plays, and well, it was almost successful, and now it was.
Jones tried to get to the outside. It's worked several times before in this first quarter, but not that time as the clock ticks down. It's about to hit 3 minutes remaining here in the first quarter of play. 14-13, Selma sitting on top by virtue of a missed extra point. Each has scored in their opening 2 possessions. Sunnyside now faces a 4th and 6, and they're going for it. Out of the shotgun is Vu. Jones in the backfield, but Vu is going to put it up in the air, and he's looking deep. Official waves it incomplete. Looked for a minute there as though he might have been reaching for a flag, but no flag came out. It's waved off, and Selma High is going to take over. 1st and 10 at midfield.
I think he just was scratching an itch when he went down there, Dan, because it appeared that Selma had that defense pretty well.
It looked as though they did. You're right.
Well, that Sunnyside possession lasted twice as long as the first 2 combined, and they came away with no points. Go figure.
So our first change of possession on the night that does not involve a kickoff. And the run picks up 5 yards, spotted directly at midfield. Bears started their drive at the 45-yard line, their own 45-yard line. Nose of the football is on the 50. Ramirez, just a sophomore, very impressive thus far. Rare is the varsity game in the central section where you're going to see 2 sophomore quarterbacks starting. But both have looked very good.
Doesn't happen often. In the last 2 plays, Sunnyside has really lined up to defense that quick hitter that Selma does so well. It's going to be 3rd and about 4 yards to go. And that last play, you had a lot of head-to-head contact on that. That was a physical play, and we're going to see another one, I think, here. I think we're going to see more of the same.
Ramirez keeps the football around the far side. He's got the first down, it would appear.
And that was a nice run by Ramirez, but hold the ball with one hand like that, that had to make the coaches a little bit nervous.
There's your signal. First down for the Selma High Bears. Their running game tonight thus far is we have 1:10 to go in the first quarter. Very, very impressive.
Well, they seem, Coach Loke came from Sanger, and they seem to have patterned themselves after Sanger's success. Lots of bodies on the ball on defense, never say die, and go at you on offense whether you have a size advantage or not.
1st and 10, little pitch to the tailback. Still on his feet. Brought down at the 38-yard line. Coach Lowe comes from a great football background. His father, a very successful high school coach. Had a cup of coffee with the Rams a number of years back, and prior to that, played at Long Beach State before the 49ers dropped their football program. He used to have a very impressive program playing those games at Civic Stadium there, War Memorial Stadium in Long Beach.
I almost forgot about Long Beach State, the 49ers back then.
If you remember Doug Gaynor from Roosevelt High School, you don't forget Long Beach State. Doug Gaynor, an outstanding quarterback at Roosevelt High School in the day, and took his talents down to Long Beach and had a great run, then went on to the Cincinnati Bengals for a brief time. Another first down as we're down to 2 seconds remaining. 1 second, that will wrap up the first quarter of play. So 1 quarter is in the books from Sunnyside Stadium, and our score, the guests from Selma High School, sitting on top by a point, 14-13 over the host Sunnyside High. Selma on the march once again. And Fred, you called it. 2 teams who had not had a lot of success on offense in their first 2 games. This is a total offensive football game thus far.
Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed with Sunnyside right now, because when they got beat so bad by Clovis North last week, Clovis North has not impressed me so much early on, and maybe they have more than I thought. We'll find out. I think tonight they're playing a Bellarmine Prep team up in the Bay Area that's usually quite competitive, but I just can't see the explosiveness that we've seen so far tonight being reined in like that. I don't get it.
We'll find out whether it's fact or fluke as this game progresses now into the second quarter.
Well, no doubt about that. But what we see out of Sunnyside, they have some speed. They have good size in their wide receivers, explosiveness in the running backs.
1st and 10, ball on the 39-yard line is Selma High on the move. Give goes right up the middle. That's Adam Rodriguez. He's brought down at the 32.
When Rodriguez got the ball tucked in the basket immediately, I thought that was going to go for 6 or 8 yards. Good job by Sunnyside bringing him down. I thought he was about to accelerate.
They closed that gap very quickly. Selma coming up to the line very quickly. Ramirez operating from the pistol rather than the shotgun. Sends one running back out in motion and gives to that running back who, he skirted a tackle very effectively, turns it upfield, but doesn't get very much yardage before he's brought down.
And that was another one, Dan. Once he got to the corner, I thought he was going to go somewhere. Sunnyside did a good job getting over in pursuit, knocking him down for a gain of maybe a half of a yard.
Well, they really, as coaches like to say, they flew to the football. You saw just as he took that handoff, he had one defender, an outside linebacker, come streaking into the backfield, and a last-second block freed Rodriguez up to continue on his march, but he wasn't able to get around that far corner and pick up much yardage. So we're looking at 3rd down and 8. Ball on the 32-yard line for Selma. Rodriguez once again dances his way. May have been flung beyond the 25-yard line, which would be enough for a first down. I think they're going to spot him a yard short, it looks like. Did not get a favorable spot.
If they had a challenge in high school football, I think they would have challenged that spot.
So it looks as though it's 4th and 1. Maybe a yard and a half. Ramirez in the pistol. Now they're in the eye. Trying to draw Sunnyside, and it doesn't work. And we've got a timeout taken by the Selma Bears.
Good patience by the Sunnyside defense, Dan. Time after time, you'll see something like this on a...
And last season, that was a frustration with them that Gordon Wood had with his defense, because they were not this patient. We saw a number of games involving this team where they did jump, where they did make silly mistakes like that, and that's not the case tonight.
Well, yeah, time after time, if you have 4th and less than 5 yards to go with that long count and show them something they haven't seen. And so much of the time, you'll see teams jump. It's a very, very disciplined team that won't do that. We saw a playoff game several years ago out in Clovis where the losing team was 6 times on 4th and short, jumped offside, and changed the whole complexion of the game. I'm not going to embarrass the coaching staff of the losing team by pointing it out.
Bears up to the football now on 4th and 2. On the counter play. They've got the first down. That's something we haven't seen out of the playbook yet tonight.
That was nice. It was kind of probably a second cousin to those old Statue of Liberty plays we used to see, but it was done on a run.
That's right.
Are they going to measure? Wow.
Looks like they are going to measure. From up here, it looked as though he got well past that, but we're quite a ways away from the play.
Wow.
There you see the Sunnyside players coming off excited. They held, and just by inches.
Yeah, that was a big defensive stand, and if I were the Selma Bears, I'd be very unhappy, not just at that spot and the spot that they had on 3rd down before, because I thought they were both clearly first downs.
There were coaches out on the field a few yards. Couldn't tell if they were giving instructions to their defense or trying to get a few words heard by the officials.
Maybe a little of each. But a defensive stand like that, no matter how it happens, it's got to be a big boost for Sunnyside's defense.
Well, this definitely is a big momentum shift, potential momentum shift now as Sunnyside takes over. The give goes to Jones, trying to tiptoe his way through defenders and picks up about 6 yards.
Even when he's like tiptoeing, as you said, he makes some good yardage, Dan.
Very patient runner. I think that's what I'm most impressed about. Yeah, his raw skills are terrific. But as you'll see here on the replay, he's very patient, allows the blocking to set up and works his way around behind the blockers and picks up good yards as a result. Here he goes again to the near side, trying to get around the end. Knocked out of bounds after a pickup of maybe 2.
And Selma had good pursuit on that. It looked like Jones was going to be stopped for a loss, and I think that's about the 3rd time they've had some contact with him in the backfield, and he's been able to get away and make positive yards. Looking
at a 3rd and 5 for the Wildcats. Elginvu, the quarterback, the sophomore, barking out the signals. He's going to throw the football. He's airing it deep. He's got a man, and it is caught by Dakota Sneed. A big reception by Dakota Sneed, who had gotten just behind the defender. As you see it here.
A little bit late there, but Sneed just looked that ball in. He didn't take his eyes off of it the whole time.
That puts the ball at the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Jones looking for an opening. Cuts up, cuts back, tries to reverse course, and is brought down for a loss.
Well, he's got to give him a little bit of a star for effort on that. He tried to make something happen.
Second down and 13. Vu through the air, over the outstretched arms of Dakova Sneed, incomplete.
That comment that I made, you know, whenever you have a statement that he tried to make something happen, it pretty much means that something stupid happened. So
is that what the odds seem to be playing out to?
Yeah, right,
okay.
Right now, yeah. I think I'm 0 for 3 on that one tonight.
Third down and 13 for the Wildcats. Timeout taken by Gordon Wood.
Okay, Dan, early on, Buchanan has a 28-0 lead on Edison out at Buchanan, and Clovis is ahead of Bullard 7-0 out at LaMonica Stadium.
Very interesting scores, and I'm sure they, when they hear this score, are seeing some raised eyebrows on the receiving end.
Well, especially so about 8 minutes into the game, or 4 minutes into the game here, where we had all those touchdowns scored.
There we are midway now, almost midway through the second quarter, and not a single point has gone on the board after 27 went up on the board in the first quarter.
Well, the defenses are settling down just a little bit. Selma doesn't have that quick strike offense, and they've really adjusted well after Sunnyside got those first 2 long touchdowns, and they've shown a lot of different looks on defense.
There you saw the Sunnyside High marching band that is up in the stands tonight, and boy, they've got a talented music program here at Sunnyside High School, being a lot of competitions throughout the fall up and down the valley. 3rd and 15. Vu looking for a receiver. Now he's got to scramble.
He's got some room.
Yeah, he throws that ball away.
We've got a holding penalty back here. I'm not sure. The flags were down. I don't know which direction they're pointing, but their pointing would usually indicate a defensive holding penalty.
The officials talking at about the 38-yard line, and indeed, that's the call. Holding signaled against the Selma High Bears. So the Wildcats will pick up a few yards on the benefit of that call.
May have had something to do with Vu running around like that, not being able to find anybody open.
So the officials march it off. They will stop the march. Let's see. At the 26-yard line where they will place the football. That'll make it 3rd down and 4. Vu out of the shotgun. He's got Jones next to him. Jones with a football. Gets past one tackler. Hauled down by another short of the first down. That'll bring up a 4th down play.
Jones is tossed backward just a little bit. It looked like he was real close to the first down marker, but they're spotting him well short.
Substitutions come in, a bevy of them for the Wildcats as they're going to huddle up. Talk this play call over. Going forward here on 4th and 2 from the 25-yard line. Vu's going to go up under center, which would generally indicate a quarterback sneak.
That's going to be a close one.
That's Jones, and he did not get it. The officials will not even call for a measurement. They immediately threw up the left arm, pointing that it is Selma High's football. So once again, we have a change of possession here in the second quarter. No scoring yet. Great defensive work.
Back to back, Dan. Figure it out.
So the Wildcats come up a yard short on that drive, and now Selma High School takes control at the 25-yard line. Nose of the football at 25. Selma leading at 14-13 with 7:01 to play here in the second quarter. Glad you're with us here on CMAC. Thanks to all the Sunnyside High students for everything they're doing in the production of this game, bringing it into your home.
Just about a 1-yard gain there, and it seems like Sunnyside now, they're closing that the gaps there in the middle. They're bringing up 7 or 8 in the box almost every play and say, okay, we're going to give you the outside, we're going to give you the pass right now.
Ball going to the far side. Looks like a pickup of about 2-3 yards. That's Brian Ching, the ball carrier, we believe.
Once again, good pursuit on Sunnyside. Twice now, Selma's been playing to the short side of the field over there, and that makes it a lot easier for Sunnyside to defense this.
Absolutely. Bears come out of the huddle. 3rd and 7. Ball's on the 28-yard line. And the reverse. Aaron Moreno with the football, and he is flung down just past the 35. And that's a first down. So the drive stays alive for Selma High.
And Selma adjusted real nice. I don't know if they called an audible on that, but Sunnyside was just totally stacked to the right side of their defense, and they didn't have much over here. They were fortunate to keep that to just like an 8-yard gain in the first down.
Ching with the ball to the far side, across the 40 toward the 45. He's got another first down. He's across midfield and hauled down at the 47-yard line.
Dan, those last 2 plays, Selma is they've owned the line of scrimmage.
Putting the man in motion has certainly been something different from what we saw in the first quarter, and that has kept the Sunnyside defense honest as well, giving them some running room. 1st and 10, ball at the 47. Give straight up the middle, and there is no running room on that call.
Having that man in motion is another page out of the Sanger playbook where they've run that wing T so successfully so long with that man getting started, keep the defense really honest.
4:38 to play here in the second quarter at Sunnyside Stadium. Selma High on top 14-13. All the scoring thus far in the first quarter, but Selma High trying to change that as ball pushed down to the 42-yard line. And once again, that's Adam Rodriguez, the ball carrier for Selma High.
That point of contact, Rodriguez is really about as low to the ground as he can get. Not an easy stop.
Oh, bad snap up over the quarterback's head. Ramirez very wisely waited for that ball to stop rolling before he dove on it. Had the presence of mind not to panic. It was going to lose some yardage, and rather than see it become even more disastrous, he just let that stop rolling, kept an eye on the defenders, and then dove on top of the football.
I think he was hoping he was going to get a bounce right to him, but plunging on it was the best option at the time.
So we are now looking at a 4th and scoreboard says 17. Do you think that's, yeah, I guess it is about 17.
That's pretty close.
And they're going to boot this football away, but Gordon Wood wants a timeout first. So Sunnyside High takes a timeout with 3 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Our score, Selma High on top 14-13 here on CMAC. Glad you've joined us, whether it be on Comcast Channel 94, AT&T Channel 99, or online at cmac.tv. I'm Dan Taylor. With me, the coach, Fred Clark. And you surprised by what we've seen thus far?
I am. I was shocked the way the game got started with each team scoring on the first 2 possessions. It looked like we'd have a 42-40 game at halftime, and not much has happened in the way of scoring since there was 6 minutes left in the opening quarter. So it's been a real surprise.
Two head coaches, I should say, making some very good adjustments to calm some of the raging offenses. Is now, for the very first time tonight, we're going to see a punt. fielded at the 24-yard line. And that's Dakova Sneed, who's been a terror on special teams tonight. Doesn't get much running room. Brought down at the 33-yard line. So that's where the Wildcats will begin this drive with 3 minutes to play in the first half here from Sunnyside Stadium.
You know, it looked on that punt like they were trying to get a lower punt to force it to bounce on the ground to keep it out of Sneed's hands, which is a good strategy. He still came up with it. I would like to see the ball in his hands a little bit more often on offense. I think maybe some bubble screens could really loosen up that defense.
So first and 10 for the Wildcats. That's Vu in the pistol. Fakes the handoff. Fires into the flat. He's got a man open. First down. Penalty flag flying.
Okay, is it going to be roughing the passer or holding in the backfield? Neither. An eligible receiver downfield.
This is one of the interior linemen got a little bit anxious and released too soon. That's going to bring a terrific pass play. It's going to make it all for naught and bring that football back. It'll be marched off from the previous line of scrimmage, the 32-yard line. I won't say the 32.5, Fred. I'm not going to give you the pleasure.
I would have been all over that.
So brings it back to the 27-yard line, where it will be 1st and 15 for Sunnyside. Wildcats trailing 14-13 with 2:42 to play. Pass deflected, incomplete over the middle. Boy, Akinvu has one terrific arm and pretty good accuracy too. That ball a little bit high, but for the most part, he has been on the mark with his throws tonight.
Well, his receiver had a hand on it, and so did the defender. So it was where it was supposed to be.
2nd and 15. Trying to set up a screen. Picked up some big yardage across the 40.
And that was well played to get the ball in, to Jones, where he has a little bit of room to make things happen. That's what he did. That makes it 3rd and real short yardage. But I would like to see Sunnyside be able to incorporate more screens, more of the bubble screens, to really open things up a little bit.
That play picked up 12 yards, and it is spotted between the 40 and the 41-yard line.
Now we're under 2 minutes to go in this first half.
The Wildcats would like to take advantage of this offensive success on this drive to be able to get some more points on the board before they go into the halftime locker room.
That was a good surge, but the line moved, so it's coming back again. Sunnyside was just too anxious.
Well, when we talked a little while ago about how patient and poised this offense was and not committing some of the silly penalties, well, that's what they've done now 3 times since I said that. So,
how frustrating is that?
3rd down and 7. Throw was a bit on the low side, but it is complete. And it's a 1st down.
Well, Vongpachan, he did a good job just getting that hand underneath that. He knew exactly where he had to go for the 1st down. Nice play, nice catch.
First and 10, 1:15 to play. Little out pass, and he runs into his own man.
Sunnyside takes a quick timeout, and I think that's all the timeouts they've got. And that play started out like that. That was going to go places.
Marquez Williams and one of his linemen ran into one another, and that stopped it a bit shorter than it potentially could have gone.
And going back when they're looking at huddle during the week to see what went wrong, and you would play that over and over again just to see where something went wrong to keep a play that may have been going for 20 or 30 yards to be a 2-yard gain and a complete miscommunication.
The kind of plays that will drive coaches crazy. So the Bears conclude their defensive huddle at the far side and now back out on the field, poised for this 2nd down and 8 play from the 46-yard line. 1:06 to play in the first half. Sunnyside trailing by a point. They want to amend that right now. Around the near side.
It's coming back.
It on Jones. Nice straight on to shirk the defender. He's in for the touchdown.
All coming back.
Indeed, we have a hold back at the 43-yard line. Penalty flag indicates this is coming back in the preliminary call, but a back judge is holding. As you see the players trotting back upfield.
Well, the band and the cheerleaders still get the message. The fight song's being played, and they're dancing all for naught.
Bit of relief by the Selma players, a bit of frustration, disappointment rippling through the Sunnyside High bench and huddle.
I didn't see the hold when it happened, Dan, but, you know, before Jones was even to the outside, the flag was out.
Second down and 8 yards from the 46-yard line. Just 53 seconds left in the first half. Vu steps up, airs it out. He's got a man. Overthrows a pair of receivers downfield. Dakota Sneed and Marquet Williams were down there, both well defended, and the ball slightly overthrown.
Selma is able to make plays work. They don't have the speed in the backfield that Sunnyside's receivers possess, but they kind of have what you'd call a moving screen, where they're keeping their eye on the ball. They're not letting the guy get past them, but they're keeping their arms down. And good defensive play, in other words.
3rd down and 20. Reads the scoreboard to our right. 46 seconds remaining in the half. Full house backfield alongside Vu. Over the middle. He's got his man. That's Sneed brought down. He's got a first down. 40 seconds on the clock. That ball at the 39-yard line.
And Vu showed all kinds of patience. Everything was perfect on that play.
Penalty flag. Motion against Sunnyside. Boy, this is 5 penalties on this possession. Ball moved back 5 yards. It's 1st and 15 with 26 seconds to go. Flushed from the pocket. Vu just flings it up out of bounds.
And not only did the penalty cost him 5 yards, as soon as the ball was marked off and spotted, the clock started up again, and it cost Sunnyside 12 seconds just to get another play off. Well, they have a couple of opportunities with the speed they have and Vu's arm. Go for it.
Now 2nd and 15 with 15 ticks left on the clock in the first half. Vu steps up. Let's fly. Nobody close. Eight seconds remaining.
That play took 7 seconds. Hey, they might get 2 more.
Wildcats line up for their 3rd down play. 8 seconds remain in the first half. Sunnyside trailing Selma 14-13. Vu to the far side, overthrows his receivers, That will bring up fourth down with just 4 seconds left.
It kind of looked like they were setting up one of those hook and lateral plays right there, Dan. Ball was overthrown. Hanford's leading Fresno High 14-8 at the half, and that surprises me a little bit more. Fresno High going down there, I wasn't real optimistic about their chances. They're holding it tight.
Maybe their last shot here. 4 seconds remain. Sunnyside with a football, trailing by a point. Jones through tacklers, cuts back, goes out of bounds. And that's all she wrote in the first half. So an exciting first half and a very explosive first quarter. An exciting first quarter. These two teams teaming up for 27 points. And our halftime score, 14-13. Selma High leading Sunnyside.
Yeah, just like it was 6 minutes into the first quarter. I love that. You know, games like this, what we thought we were going to have, and then what started out the first 5 minutes, completely different. Gotta love this game.
Both head coaches made terrific adjustments in the second half to kind of shut down the offenses. We will see what they have in store for the third quarter of play when we come back after our halftime break.
CMAC empowers the members of the community to tell their story by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use video equipment, how to use the facilities we have to offer. CMAC is an organization that is devoted to allowing people to tell their stories. 99% of those organizations and individuals that have stories to tell have never been able to do it because they couldn't afford to. Now they can. CMAC empowers members of the community by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use all the wonderful equipment that we have available for them. And then once they've learned, using that equipment to create their own content.
The great thing about once someone has filmed and edited their video is that it is aired via Comcast and other channels, and this gives Arte Americas the opportunity to connect with outlying communities, people who may not have a chance to discover us any other way.
To see something that you've actually produced on a channel is fun for the first time, especially if you spent a lot of time with it. And it does take time to learn the programs.
Because you hear it all the time as a producer, we can help get you out there. But this is the real deal. There is no gimmicks, there are no type of games that they play. You produce the content, you follow the guidelines, it will air to the community and be an inspiration to the community.
CMAC is here to provide that venue, and it provides that venue to every aspect of the community, every part of the community. No one else does it that way. No one else offers that. The importance of CMAC's members cannot be overstated. CMAC is its members. We've trained hundreds of people, and we've already seen hundreds of stories, and the results of those stories are being felt in numerous ways.
I got involved with CMAC because a friend of mine already belonged, and we volunteered to film a fashion show, and because there were good classes for CMAC, they ran us all through all the instruments and equipment that we were going to be using. I felt good about the experience, and I felt really confident, and actually it was really a lot of fun too.
And the training is simple. You know, when I did it, I think I took 7 classes, and at the end of 7 classes, I got a certificate, and I started recording things. Anytime I've had questions, the staff here has been great, and they've given me the opportunity to try different things with whatever content I'm producing.
When I got around other members, seeing that they had different visions than I had, but that we could all partner together, it was just like a giant gumbo or a giant buffet of different ideas, different creators, but all with one purpose: to create quality content.
You can't do it all. You can't be the man in front and behind the camera for every production. CMAC needs volunteers because it's a community-based organization, and the more volunteers you have, the higher quality of production you can achieve in your program.
People can contribute to CMAC by just participating and coming up with your own clever ideas and coming to the functions, coming to the events.
I feel great about being able to send volunteers and people who are just connected with Arte Americas over to CMAC so they can develop their own art form. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another organization providing this level of resources here to the Valley to anybody who is interested, motivated, and wants to sign up. It's incredible. We love having them across the street, and they really are adding to what the Central Valley is providing.
CMAC is an outlet for anyone who wants to get their message or their skills or their artwork or whatever it is out into the community. It's a professional atmosphere where you can get the help that you need to be able to produce your program, and as a result, Fresno gets so much more to see and find out about.
I mean, when I see the smiles when people come through on orientation, or when they're hanging out in class, or seeing their projects being on the big screen in the lobby or on TV, that's magic. I mean, it's one thing to hope to do something, but it's another thing to help people fulfill and be that servant in the community. And that's what CMAC is. CMAC serves to help fulfill people's dreams.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume, not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
CMAC empowers the members of the community to tell their story by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use video equipment, how to use the facilities we have to offer. CMAC is an organization that is devoted to allowing people to tell their stories. 99% of those organizations and individuals that have stories to tell have never been able to do it because they couldn't afford to. Now they can. CMAC empowers members of the community by offering them the opportunity to learn how to use all the wonderful equipment that we have available for them. And then once they've learned, using that equipment to create their own content.
The great thing about once someone has filmed and edited their video is that it is aired via Comcast and other channels, and this gives Arte Americas the opportunity to connect with outlying communities, people who may not have a chance to discover us any other way.
To see something that you've actually produced on a channel is fun for the first time, especially if you spent a lot of time with it. And it does take time to learn the programs.
Because you hear it all the time as a producer, we can help get you out there. But this is the real deal. There is no gimmicks, there are no type of games that they play. You produce the content, you follow the guidelines, it will air to the community and be an inspiration to the community.
CMAC is here to provide that venue. And it provides that venue to every aspect of the community, every part of the community. No one else does it that way. No one else offers that. The importance of CMAC's members cannot be overstated. CMAC is its members. We've trained hundreds of people. And we've already seen hundreds of stories, and the results of those stories are being felt in numerous ways.
I got involved with CMAC because a friend of mine already belonged, and we volunteered to film a fashion show, and because there were good classes for CMAC, they ran us all through all the instruments and equipment that we were going to be using. I felt good about the experience, and I felt really confident, and actually it was really a lot of fun too.
And the training is simple. You know, when I did it, I think I took 7 classes, and at the end of 7 classes, I got a certificate, and I started recording things. Anytime I've had questions, the staff here has been great, and they've given me the opportunity to try different things with whatever content I'm producing.
When I got around other members, seeing that they had different visions than I had, but that we could all partner together, it was just like a giant gumbo or a giant buffet of different ideas, different creators, but all with one purpose: to create quality content.
You can't do it all. You can't be the man in front and behind the camera for every production. CMAC needs volunteers because it's a community-based organization, and the more volunteers you have, the higher quality of production you can achieve in your program.
People can contribute to CMAC by just participating and coming up with your own clever ideas and coming to the functions, coming to the events.
I feel great about being able to send volunteers and people who are just connected with Arte Americas over to CMAC so they can develop their own art form. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another organization providing this level of resources here to the Valley to anybody who is interested, motivated, and wants to sign up. It's incredible. We love having them across the street, and they really are adding to what the Central Valley is providing.
CMAC is an outlet for anyone who wants to get their message or their skills or their artwork or whatever it is out into the community. It's a professional atmosphere where you can get the help that you need to be able to produce your program, and as a result, Fresno gets so much more to see and find out about.
I mean, when I see the smiles when people come through on orientation, or when they're hanging out in class, or seeing their projects being on the big screen in the lobby or on TV, that's magic. I mean, it's one thing to hope to do something, but it's another thing to help people fulfill and be that servant in the community. And that's what CMAC is. CMAC serves to help fulfill people's dreams.
And welcome back to high school football here on CMAC. There's your score. Selma High sitting in the lead, surprisingly, 14-13 over the Sunnyside High Wildcats here at halftime from Sunnyside Stadium. And a lot of confetti out on the field as we're just a few minutes away from the start of the second half. But Fred Clark, what a high-scoring first half that slipped into a defensive game in the second quarter.
Well, both teams, after scoring on their first two possessions, they settled into making adjustments, countering the other team a little bit, and both of them were very successful. It's going to be interesting to see now how the attrition goes. Each team has several players going both ways. It's not a particularly hot night, but it is a little warm down on the field. Cramping hasn't been an issue, but about the middle of the third quarter, sometimes a team that is just a little bit mentally tougher in an even game like this will establish command and wear the other team down.
Our friend Will Goldbeck from Selma High School, who's been involved with Selma High and also Reedley College sports for more than 40 years, shared some really impressive statistics thus far. Total yardage thus far for Sunnyside, 255 yards, Selma 146. Vu, the Sunnyside quarterback, 8 of 17 for 119 yards. Ramirez in his very first varsity game. Joey Ramirez just up from the junior varsity, 5 of 7 for 69 yards. And of course Jones, he has been so impressive with the 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for Sunnyside. 11 touches of the football for 119 yards. Selma with 9 first downs, Sunnyside with 7, and then there's your favorite stat there at the bottom, Fred.
Time of possession, the Selma with a little over 15 minutes, not quite 9 minutes for Sunnyside, and you have a lot of teams that the time of possession they'll have maybe twice as much and still get annihilated, but for the most part, the team that controls the line of scrimmage on offense establishes who's in command of the football game. And if Selma's going to win the game, they'll have Sunnyside worn down by probably the end of the third quarter, or vice versa.
Let's take a look at some of those highlights in the first half of action. Came out Sunnyside very aggressive with some big plays to start this one, but there you see Ramirez making, as we said, his first varsity start. That was near the end of the second quarter, going for the end zone and almost intercepted. But Vu, the quarterback for Sunnyside, there with the handoff, and boy, Jones was just outstanding in the first half. They had great field position from a couple of big kick returns. Defensively, though, in the second quarter is when things tightened. Both coaches made some big adjustments that were very effective, and that throttled the scoring. We're about 5 seconds away from the teams running back out on the field. Vu airing it out. He's got a strong arm, just a sophomore, and the coaches are very excited about his future for the Sunnyside High Wildcats. But it's an explosive first quarter giving way to a defensive second quarter. And we'll see what the third quarter has to bring here in just a matter of moments from Sunnyside High. Glad you're with us here on CMAC as you look at more of the activity and the action that took place on the field in the first half between Sunnyside High and the Selma High Bears.
Well, Dan, I'm going to have some fun here. When you said there's been hardly any penalties, then there's like 5 of them in a row. I'm going to point out there haven't been any turnovers in the game. Watch what happens now.
Well, we'll see if we're both jinxes or if it's just me.
All right, you're on.
All right, the kickoff is in the air, and our second half is underway. And that's Pat Angelo bringing the kickoff back. Far short of the 20-yard line as they will begin their first possession of the second half. See where they're going to spot it.
Well, running laterally on a kickoff generally doesn't get you plus yards, and that's what happened there. Especially against a team that's a lot quicker than you are.
For the halftime break, as we mentioned, chatting with Will Goldbeck from Selma High, and he's certainly been doing yeoman's work for many, many decades covering high school football. As that give goes nowhere, and it's a loss of yards for Selma High. But Will was talking about last week's game. They went down to Bakersfield, and there was a major incident on Highway 99 that forced the team all the way out to Highway 43, and they had some direction issues, got lost a little bit, and came in quite late into Bakersfield for that game, and it really threw things off. Not pointing to that as a reason for their showing last week, but certainly kept the night from going smoothly.
Good job for Sunnyside there, just stopping that play totally cold. Oh, something you said, Dan, you said they kind of got lost. How do you kind of get lost?
Well, you know, your GPS sends you down one street where maybe it should have sent you down the other, and maybe you got to drive a little ways before you realize it and double back and get back on the right track, but not entirely lost, but you make a wrong turn, and it's a ways before you realize it and make a right turn.
Okay, so that's kind of lost. Okay.
Yeah. The kind of things that happen to me all the time.
Do you depend on the GPS?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And the whistles blow before they can get this third down play going. Officials have been busy here, especially in the second quarter, Fred.
Yeah, the referee for tonight is Kirk Lynn. The umpire is Dennis Hall. Head linesman, Ian Batista. Line judge is Randy Lindquist, and the back judge is Keith Martino.
They have been very busy, especially in that second quarter. A pretty smooth first quarter with regard to penalties. Third down, 9 to go. Ramirez, well, that is not Ramirez. That was Angelo with that throw. And that ball was hauled in by Brian Ching for a big Selma High first down.
And that easily could have been called offensive pass interference, and Dan, it looked like Ching pushed off and got himself some room, and I thought Selma also had a pretty obvious block in the backfield. He gave the quarterback a little bit more time, but that's part of the game.
So ball's at the 41-yard line. Selma High, 10 minutes to play here in the third quarter of play here at Sunnyside Stadium. Ramirez airs it out and throws well over the head of his wide receiver. But that was Valdez.
And that wasn't even close. You mentioned Joey Ramirez, quarterback for the Bears, starting his first game tonight, and mentioned his older brother was a Bears quarterback, and he has shown a lot of poise for his first varsity start on the road.
His brother now at Reedley College, where he's focusing principally on playing basketball for the Tigers. This is Joey Ramirez. Ball's loose. Sunnyside High looks as though they have come up with a football. No, it's still loose. Now the Wildcats have got it all the way back at the 18-yard line.
To the first turnover of the game.
You did it.
And I don't know what went wrong in that play, Dan. Was it just a bad snap? It looked like the play was underway, and then the ball's in the air out of nowhere.
Next thing you know, whether the running back got popped and it came loose. Not exactly sure what happened there. Wonder if at some point guys in the truck might be able to track down that replay. Give us a little better clue as to what may have happened there in the interior line. Vu's pass just beyond the outstretched arms of his receiver, incomplete.
That was a big play for The Wildcats could have given them a big momentum shift, and I don't know why the Wildcats have not went to Jones a little bit more. I want the ball in his hands. He ran for almost 150 yards in that first half. He didn't have a lot of touches.
Jones had 119 yards rushing in the first half. Only 9, I believe it was 11 touches in the first half.
That's what I want to see right now.
Here he goes. He's got some room to run, cuts back to the sideline. He's inside the 10. Looks like they're going to spot it at about the 6-yard line.
Put the ball in that man's hands.
Very effective, no doubt. So 1st and 10, ball spotted at the 7-yard line. A little bit wider spacing there for the Wildcats as Jones tries to spin his way back to the inside, and he's brought down, no gain.
You know, on that handoff where Jones is coming around, the quarterback, after the handoff, he still makes the motion that he's going to pass. And you have a lot of schools that do that, and it's been going on for about the last half dozen years. That fakes no one out.
Vu across the middle. Incomplete.
That was intended for Snead, and I thought he had a good chance of bringing that down.
Brings up a 3rd and 9. Third and goal, I should say. Jones steps up. Vu to Jones. Jones knocked from his feet. That was Nico Herrera who came up from his linebacker spot. He went low, and down went Jones. Well, 4th down.
I like that call, Dan, but the Selma Bears did too. They had 8 men on that side of the line of scrimmage. They were expecting it. Something must have tipped them off. And now we're going to see a field goal attempt by the Wildcats.
Landon Osvaldo, the place kicker for the Wildcats, lines it up for a field goal try as they want to try and grab the lead back.
He missed it. Wow, it was wide to the left. Had plenty of distance on it.
So there's 8:14 to play here in the 3rd quarter as the Sunnyside high scoring try goes awry.
Maybe I'm just getting too old and getting too critical about everything, Dan, but it looked, Sunnyside runs that hurry-up offense, kind of a version of a no-huddle. They don't need to do that when they're lining up to kick the ball. It was like they were in a hurry, and there's a result of it. Either that or I'm either too old or just a very astute observer. It's one of those two.
Selma High takes over. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Give goes to Aaron Blancas around the far end. Picks up about 6 yards, maybe 7 if he gets a good spot. So the Bears were extremely effective in the 1st quarter, running off tackle. Could not get around that edge. 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter, different situation. They've had more success running outside and even throwing the football. Ramirez sends this back in motion. Pickup of 2.
And that was a good point. They went inside on that one too, but they're going's tough. Sunnyside's really cheating it up, and they're putting 7 and 8 man fronts up and challenging them to do something else.
Joey Ramirez looking very good in his first varsity start. As we mentioned, he has been the JV quarterback in the first 2 games of the season, brought up to the varsity this week, and he has looked very poised, looks the field well, and has run the offense extremely well.
And it didn't hurt their JV team. They won by 40 points tonight.
With the quarterback keeper, and it looks as though he may have run into the back of his own offensive lineman there. Brings up 4th and about 2 yards to go.
Yeah, he was trying to slither off to the side, and it didn't work. And Selma, when you're on your own 28-yard line, you're going to have to punt the ball away. And the argument against that is Steed waiting back here about midfield.
Well, now we see Valdez come in, and he is the guy who does the punting duties for Selma High.
Dan, I missed the halftime. How did all that confetti get on the field?
They had a dance group out there.
Okay.
Now this is not Valdez. They're trying to see if they can get Sunnyside to jump. And officials have given Selma High a timeout. Their first of the second. No, I take it back. It was a motion, or maybe it was a too much time penalty.
Yeah, it was a delay game.
Delay a game. So it does seem as though they were trying to get Sunnyside High to jump off sides, and it didn't work. So now they will punt the football away from the 23-yard line. Kicks it on the run, Aussie rules style. That ball will bounce all the way across midfield. That's where they're going to spot it, right at the 50-yard line.
All things considered, not bad for Selma. You mentioned the Aussie rules punters. I kind of like that, because so many things can happen, but when you have a guy that can kick effectively, you're more than likely going to get a bounce, and it's usually going to be a positive bounce. And then the fun begins when somebody tries to field it.
Some of the Sunnyside players looking down at this confetti that is all over the football field. We haven't seen it cause a problem yet, just gives a little bit different look to the field. Is first and 10 from the 50. Vu, he's looking to go through the air, but he is sacked for a big loss. It's a loss of close to 10 yards.
You know, Dan, year in, year out, the field here at Sunnyside is kept in real good shape. I believe it's Rick Perez, the head's groundskeeper. I'm sure he's not too happy about the confetti.
Now they're going to spot it as a loss of 7. Terrific crowd tonight. Sunnyside High Rooter section is full. Entire freshman class coming out for their first experience of a varsity football game. The marching band is to our left, making a lot of noise, and they passed out thunder sticks in the Rooter section. The cheerleaders have got them going. It's a great night for high school football here in Southeast Fresno.
Yeah, their band has some serious numbers this season.
Glad you're with us here on CMAC, Community Media Access Collaborative. If you're joining us on AT&T 99, Comcast 94, or you've tuned in through the internet, we're glad you're with us for what has been a very exciting matchup between Sunnyside and Selma. Vu on the run, flinging it across the body, and they're going to give that a completion out to the 48-yard line.
And Sneed did a good job catching that, but it's only a 2-yard gain on that. Vu did a good job to avoid getting sacked and getting the ball out to Sneed. I believe this is the first punt by the Wildcats.
It is indeed. It will be Sunnyside's first punt of the night. Again, our score is still 14-13. All the scoring happened in a very explosive first quarter of play. A couple of long kick returns put Sunnyside High in great field position. And 3 offensive plays. They had 2 touchdowns, both scored by Devon Jones. Selma High had 2 very long drives off of short pooch kicks, drives of around 60 yards that they were able to punch in for touchdowns as we look at this once again. Mishandled there, and that was Aaron Blancas who had to dive on the football.
Yeah, he was fortunate to retain possession, and Selma, for the second possession in a row, is starting out in very poor field position.
Yeah, they're going to be at the 16, 17-yard line. No, they'll be at the 13-yard line, actually. That's their worst field possession of the night so far. And the officials blow this one dead. They're pointing in Sunnyside's direction as far as the infraction.
Well, Sunnyside hasn't had any devastating penalties to speak of, but just these little nickel and dime ones where you give a team 1st and 5. That puts so much pressure on the defense, so frustrating for the coaching staff. And then the players pay the price at practice.
That they do. 4:02 to play here in the third quarter. 14-13 our score. Selma High on top, as it has been since about the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Now a big hole up the middle, and he is close to first down territory. That Brian Ching. It is indeed a first down as the markers are moved.
Good opening on that left side of the offensive line, allowed him to squirt through.
So the Bears did not start in very good field position, their worst of the night, and now they have punched it out to the 25. Again, Ching off tackle. He's got 5 more.
Nice hole opened up again on the left side of that line. And Dan, I wanted to pass along some more scores, but my scoreboard app is not doing good things for me right now, so I'm unable to have any. So last I heard, it was still Buchanan over Edison, 28-0. And but Buchanan's head doesn't surprise me. The score does surprise me. I thought that was going to be a much closer game. Buchanan's making a statement tonight.
Ching once more off the right tackle. Fred was going to ask, did you forget to charge your phone?
No, got plenty of power.
Okay.
I would say it's technical incompetence on my part.
Certainly not that on young Brian Ching's part. It was off right tackle. He has a nice gain, as you just saw the replay there. Puts the ball out to the 23-yard line. 3rd and 2 for the Bears. Big play for Selma High here. Ching in motion. That looks like Blancas, and it looks as though he's got a first down. Yep, they're moving the markers.
And it looked to me like the Wildcats had that defended well. They had 5 guys in line of scrimmage. The 2 backers were right where they were supposed to be. They were anticipating if he was going to break through, they would be there to stop it. They were, but they couldn't quite hold him down.
We are blowing through this third quarter. 2:04 left to play in this third quarter.
Whoa.
Selma with a 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Ramirez. Oh, big play there by Devon Jones coming up from the secondary to take down Aaron Blancas.
That play looked like it had potential at the onset. Ends up being a loss of a yard.
Blancas coming up a little sore, but he goes right back into the huddle as the messenger brings in the play from the sideline. Blancas at the top of your screen out wide. Ramirez with the quick give. That goes to Rodriguez. And Rodriguez out over the 40-yard line to the 43.
For the last 4 times the Bears have run that play, they've had substantial gains.
3rd and 5 now, and this is again a very big play for Selma as they have been churning up the yards. The possession started very unfavorably for them, but they have managed to get it out across the 40. Oh, he's going deep. He's got a receiver.
Yep.
And the penalty flag flies. That is going to be interference. And another first down coming up for the Selma Bears.
It's unfortunate for the Wildcats on that play. He did grab his arm, but it was unnecessary. He was not going to be able to come down to that to catch that pass. He just didn't have enough speed, and I guess he grabbed him thinking he was going to catch it. It wasn't going to happen.
Jimmy Gomez frustrated with himself on the far side. That will bring the ball to the... Well, they're going to march it off. Previously had it resting on the 50. And that'll take it down to the 42-yard line into Sunnyside High territory and a first down for the Selma Bears. That's Rodriguez. He's got some room down near the first down marker. Across the 35 and down to about the 32-yard line.
You had Selma just blow the Sunnyside defensive line back on that one.
Oh, that Selma offensive line has been tremendous on this drive.
And they're feeling it right now. And, you know, the last 3 snaps have been a little high. And, Dan, that's going to be the end of the third quarter already.
That it is. Where the score remains, Selma High 14, Sunnyside 13. All the scoring, of course, done in the first 7 minutes of this game. The defenses took over in the second quarter. We've had some turnovers here in the third. But Selma High on the march as they're down to the 29-yard line on a 2nd and 2. As the coaching staffs talk to their players, and we prepare to move into the fourth quarter here at Sunnyside Stadium. Glad you're with us here on CMAC. We remind you, of course, Community Media Access Collaborative offers training and opportunities. They're located in the MEC building, the old Fresno B building downtown, and they provide programming to Comcast and to AT&T. If you take a look at their website at cmac.tv, they'll have information on classes and opportunities and events. I encourage you to take advantage of it. It's a great place to go learn video production and get some of the skills needed to get into the industry. And we're excited by the work done tonight by the students from Sunnyside High School from their video production classes. Here working the cameras and some of the other responsibilities tonight at this game. Glad you're involved with us, and they're bringing the game to you into your living rooms tonight.
The young people are doing a great job.
Off the right tackle. There goes Brian Ching once again. He picks up the first down near the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that Brian Ching at 5'11" and 185 pounds, he has some blasting power when he hits that line of scrimmage. And right now, Selma's offensive line is having their way at the line of scrimmage, and they seem to be wearing down the Wildcats. The Wildcats are going to have to adjust a little bit, try something a little bit different, because what they have right now, I think they're getting fatigued a little bit, and they're going to have to gamble a little bit, I think. Again, they got like 9 guys right in the box.
There's Ching once again. They were there to stuff it, but he may have picked up a yard. We mentioned the students and the yeoman's job they're all doing tonight. So too Cesar Perez, who gets out here hours before a game begins with his crew and gets everything in place and set up in the heat of the afternoon. Cesar, the mobile production engineer for CMAC, and Terry Dolph calling the shots in the truck. He's the chief engineer, doing a terrific job tonight. Great to work with both of you always, and really a terrific job tonight in this game.
And Terry, isn't he about the age of mandatory retirement now, Dan?
I'm not going there. I am not going there.
Probably a wise choice.
I wasn't around when you were nicknaming him Methuselah. 10:52 here in the fourth quarter, 14-13. Selma High sitting on top as the two teams are going to take a timeout and huddle up around their respective coaches to discuss this situation. Selma High's program, great history over the years. Of course, you go back to 1959. They're certainly proud of that team, and the great Bobby Cox, future Hall of Fame baseball manager, was the quarterback on that Selma High team. Then you go into the 80s, and Todd Santos, who ultimately went to San Diego State, where he was the NCAA passing yardage leader, breaking Kevin Sweeney of Fresno State, who held the record for a time. And Todd drafted by the Saints. Had a little bit of time with the San Francisco 49ers. Great tradition this school has had on the football field throughout the years. Anthony Mosley, brief time with the Chicago Bears, a former Selma High running back. So they have some tremendous teams, 4 Valley champions throughout the years.
And Coach Matt Logue, he's restored that, because Selma went through a down period in the early part of this century. They had lost like 33 straight games until McLean stood tall and allowed them to end that streak. And when Matt Logue came on, everything has changed. Yeah, there's some movement in the line. As when he came to Selma had been just mired in mediocrity for quite a while. In his first season, they won 8 games. The next season, they won the Valley Championship, going 13-0, and then losing in the state regional playoffs.
But it's odd to say what a defeat that was, but they chose to go for 2.
Yes, they're down 28-27. They score, they roll the dice, go for the whole bag, and I'm glad they do that. Do that every time. Gamble to win. Uh-oh.
Bad snap. Ramirez scrambling after it, and he is going to take a huge loss on that play. Could be almost 15 yards, the amount of yardage lost on that play.
Well, it turned that timeout that Sunnyside took on that second and 8 situation. Next play, Sunnyside, Selma has the legal procedure, then a 15-yard loss, right what the Wildcats needed at the time.
They go from a tremendous spot. They were at the 38-yard line. Now they're all the way back at the Sunnyside 46. 3rd and 19. No, that can't be right.
It's more than 19 to go.
Yeah.
Screen.
Angelo spins free. Picks up close to 10 yards, but still has a long, long way to go to get to the first down marker.
Well, Angelo made that play because Sunnyside looked like they had that right there. Angelo twisted, made another move, broke a tackle, got positive yardage.
Terrific job. 9:35 remaining here in the ball game. 14-13, Selma High clinging to this 1-point lead that they have held ever since the midway mark of the first quarter.
Selma's going to take too much time, give themselves a little bit more room, and then punt, I believe. Wow, it's a long time for a delay game.
Now the officials whistle. Well, actually, it looks as though Selma has, and they have. Selma has called a timeout. So again, the two teams huddle up. 9:03 to play in this game. 14-13 Selma sitting on top. And you're looking at a 4th and 19 from the 36.
Now, if Selma's going to go for it, I applaud that call. Let's wait. Let's talk it over. Now, if they're going to punt the ball away, I would have taken the 5 yards, taken the delay of game to establish a strategy about where you're going to punt the ball. You don't want to give the ball to Sneed. You see where he's lined up. You try and coffin corner to the other side of the field.
You'll see in a number of games at every level, you'll see players that'll start motioning with the fans to make some noise, get up, give the support to the team. No need for that tonight on the Sunnyside side of the field because the side is full. They're making a lot of noise, and they have been showing tremendous support for their Wildcats throughout the night. Selma High now up to the line of scrimmage, 4th down. That ball at the 36-yard line. They have 19 yards to go for a first down. Deep in punt formation.
Oh, man.
That is Ramirez, the quarterback, who punts it away. Dakova Sneed, who had a couple of long kickoff returns in the first quarter, is held in check there as the ball will be spotted at the 20-yard line. 8:52 to play in this game. 14-13 Selma. Sunnyside High takes possession.
You know, Dan, just when I thought Sunnyside's defense was really starting to suck air and look wore out and made a good stand, and all things considered, they got the ball at the 20-yard line. I thought Selma had a good chance to really pin him down, and that bad snap was disastrous. And that was a real problem on that last drive with Selma, the high snaps.
Jones tries to cut through the line. Loose football, back at the 10, at the 8. And the Wildcats have recovered.
Yeah, Jones just coughed that up. What had happened? Let's see this again. He was just stripped of the ball right there. It was loose.
Officials place the ball at the 6-yard line. 2nd down and 24. Vu goes up top, overthrows his man.
Yeah, Dan, that was really good defense by the smaller and less agile and mobile Selma backfield. They're very well coached.
Dakova Sneed, the intended receiver, ball thrown well over his head. Brings up 3rd down and 24.
A gigantic play for the Wildcats.
And for Selma, because they could take over with some outstanding field position if they are able to make a stop here. This is Vu, across the middle. And Sneed is brought down, and we've got a penalty flag.
Okay, we have a Bear player down. It's going to be an interesting call. I don't know what had happened. The Selma coaching staff is highly agitated right now.
An eligible man downfield. So one of those interior linemen once again lost patience and released too soon.
And it was a quick developing play.
Gordon Wood getting a few words in out on the field. As he now heads back toward the bench. Their athletic trainers tending to the injured member of the Selma Bears. Looks as though it's Pat Angelo, and he is jogging off the field alongside the athletic trainer.
Good to see. Angelo's been a major factor for the Bears tonight.
Got a great night. So coming into teams that had had difficulty in their first 2 games putting points on the board, they did that aplenty in the first quarter, and now it has settled into a bit of a nail-biting thriller. 7:49 to play as Sunnyside will punt this football away. Bears are going to let it go, and it's going to roll out of bounds shy of the 50-yard line. Now they're going to actually spot it at midfield.
All things considered, good for the Wildcats. That could have been real bad. They got a nice bounce. They got out of the shadows of their own goalposts and see if their defense was able to rest enough to make a stop here and keep their team in the game. And Dan, who would have thought this, that with a little over 7.5 minutes left, the score would be the same as it was after 7 minutes after kickoff?
I wouldn't have thought it. Not at all. Not at all.
No.
This could be a decisive possession for Selma High School now. 7:41 to play. The Bears with a 1-point lead, 14-13. Give goes to the back Adam Rodriguez and picks up about 3 yards. Did the ball come loose?
Yeah, we had a fumble on the play.
Waiting for word from the officials, and they're giving it right back to the Bears despite the earlier pointing by the Sunnyside defense.
That looked like it was going to be about a 4-yard gain. It turns out to be a net of almost 1.
But for Selma's benefit, the clock keeps running at 7:13 now and counting. 2nd down and 9 from the Sunnyside High 49. From the pistol, give goes to Blancas, trying to get around the far end. The linebacker comes flying, misses him. Blancas up around the 1st down marker. Let's see where the spot is.
It's going to be just a little bit short, but Blancas put on the speed right when he hit the corner. Nice run.
Now they're going to mark him about 2 yards shy, it would appear. Brings up a 3rd and 2.
A couple of missed tackles there by the Wildcats.
Look of exasperation on the body language of a couple of the Sunnyside assistants after that play. Certainly there were players that had an angle, looked like they had the chance to stop him, and there is Ching again across the 1st down marker and well into Sunnyside territory, takes that one down to the 35-yard line.
And Ching ran angry on that play.
6:45 and ticking on that clock. Ball spotted at the 36-yard line. Selma High would love nothing more than to push this in for a decisive score and increase that 1-point lead they've been clinging to since about the 5-minute mark of the first quarter.
And the Wildcats, after that initial explosion, haven't done much of anything on offense.
Ching once again. Looks like a gain of about 3 yards to the 35. Slow starts are nothing new in a season in non-conference games for Gordon Wood and the Sunnyside High Wildcats. As he shared with you, especially over the past couple of years, he likes to play a tough non-conference schedule that will get his team ready for the postseason.
Well, what Sunnyside needs to do, the NYL, and I'm not putting the NYL down. I mean, the coaches are trying to build programs. The young men are playing their butts off. But
Sunnyside is the class of the NYL.
Yeah, and they need to be in the CMAC division. They don't need to be in the NYL, and Madera South definitely does not need to be in the CMAC. But I don't know if Madera South. Well, I think the whole thing needs to be realigned, and the way that the playoffs are seeded, I have issues with. The way the leagues are right now, I have issues with. I think that a wise thing for Jim Critchlow to do, who's the head of the CIF, is just give me unlimited powers to make changes.
And I don't think you're on a short list of people who wish that. Jim does a great job and has for many, many years running the central section of the CIF. But a lot of folks have ideas that are a little bit different than those that produce the results they do in the CIF meetings.
Well, I like the way I said it better.
Now the two teams break up their huddles, come back out onto the field now for this second down and 8 play from the 35-yard line. Ramirez in the pistol. High snap, but gets it off, fires downfield. He's got an open man. That's Blancas scrambling around, gets down to about the 10-yard line before he is flung out of bounds.
Ramirez did a good job pulling that ball down after the snap, found his man. That was a quick play. He got that out fast.
Ball's placed at the 12. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears. We have seen them in scoring position, well, in the red zone or close to the red zone twice in this half, and both times penalties, bad snaps, cost them dearly. Ching in the backfield behind the young sophomore Joey Ramirez. Give goes to Ching. He is bottled up immediately and dropped for a loss of about 3 yards. That's the one probably negative about the pistol, is trying to run out of it in a handoff situation. You're at risk for a loss.
And especially the snaps, I don't know what's been going on, but the snaps have not been real consistent. But I agree with you completely.
.4:39 to play here from Sunnyside Stadium. Glad you've joined us for our first high school football telecast of the night. We'll be off next week. Back with you in 2 weeks. Give goes to Ching. Breaks a tackle. Picks up about 3.
That clock is moving. It's going to be under 4 minutes to go after this next play is done.
Indeed. Ramirez gets a play from his coach on the opposite sideline, brings it back into the Selma Bear huddle. Conversely, we have got Sunnyside defensive coaches signaling in plays to their 11. Ramirez rolling right, fires, incomplete.
Okay, Dan, big play time here. Do you go for it? Even if you don't make the touchdown, you're going to put Sunnyside with kind of a questionable kicking game, a long ways from even being in field goal range? Or do you take a good chance of getting 3 points right now? What do you do?
Well, all depends on how consistent your kicker is. They are not going to attempt a field goal. They are definitely going to go for it here on 4th and 7.
I applaud the move.
4th and 7 from the 8-yard line. Ching in the backfield. Ramirez, deep drop, throws. He's got a man wide open for the touchdown.
And the Bears sideline over there erupts.
Valdez pulls it in for the touchdown.
And there's a pall of gloom has enveloped the Sunnyside sidelines.
This is Landon Osvaldo in to attempt the extra point for the Selma Bears. His try is good. So with 3 minutes and 37 seconds to play, Selma High extends their 1-point lead now to 8. It is 21-13. Bears on top. And Sunnyside High doing a little bit of regrouping and strategizing before they go out to take this kick.
Sunnyside with 2 timeouts left, a little over 3.5 minutes to go. They still have some explosiveness on offense, but they need the touchdown and they need that 2-point conversion just to send the game into overtime. And Dan, in the overtimes down in high school, for many years they were from 10 yards out. Now it's like college rules. It's from the 25, where field goals are far from automatic.
Well, your clairvoyance makes me believe we might just have the potential for overtime then if you're talking about it.
I like to consider all the options.
That's what good coaches do. A line drive kick taken by an up back. Now he gives it to Jones.
Good move.
Jones around the near side. He's still on his feet at the 45. And now pushed back and out of bounds. Terrific return. The up man giving it wisely to Devon Jones, who caught the ball all the way out to the 45-yard line.
Great field position for the Wildcats. See if they can make something happen. Jones did his absolute best to make things happen and got about another 15 yards on that when we all thought he was down.
3:24 to play. Wildcats will begin this possession from their own 45-yard line. Vu. Jones alongside. Vu's going to throw. With a dink. Defender saw it coming, and Selma High has intercepted the football, I believe. Or did it go to the ground? Did it fall to the ground incomplete?
No, that's a pick.
They saw that coming. Boy, what a tremendous job there by Nico Herrera, the linebacker, leaping over Jones to swat that ball and enable a teammate to bring it down.
Huge defensive play by the Bears.
Nico Herrera, the man who made that play with that swat. Teammate able to come away with the interception. 3 minutes and 16 seconds remaining on the scoreboard. I would assume, Fred, this ball's going to be on the ground.
I don't think we're going to see him go to the air at all on this.
Ramirez up under center. Give goes to Adam Rodriguez.
It appears that Buchanan is leading Edison late 41-0. I wouldn't have seen that coming. Clovis is leading Bullard 14-7, also in the latter stages of the game.
Well, Adam Rodriguez, you saw that replay. He just kept those legs churning. That's a sign of a very good, well-coached running back. Just to continue moving, trying to make whatever he can out of the situation.
They're taking every second off the clock, and watch these offensive linemen. They're feeling it now.
Ramirez up under center. Give again, goes to Rodriguez.
And he's still going.
Well past the first down stripe.
Like you just said, he kept those legs churning, and Sunnyside has to make a stop, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. You got a lot of hands on hips down there.
Clock is paused to allow the markers to move. 2:21. Now it's ticking down to 2:15. Selma High in no hurry to get up to the line of scrimmage. Bit of dancing going on and applauding going on their bench. The Sunnyside High cheerleaders still trying to maintain school spirit in the face of imminent defeat. 21-13 our score, a minute 54. Timeout taken by Selma. Well, a big night for the Bears coming into Fresno, winning this one after a pair of defeats to begin their season. So this has to really pump up and enthuse this team, and especially as it would appear they have found a quarterback in Joey Ramirez.
Oh, you can't state that enough, Dan. Selma has come in, and when they gave up the first 2 touchdowns that they did, I mean, it was like a hot knife through butter. Sunnyside just went right through them. They adjusted, and it's such a statement to the character of the coaching staff, where they've been able to instill this in their young men that, hey, these things happen, we can adjust. Don't give up on yourselves, we're not giving up on you. And you can just see their confidence getting higher and higher over there on the sidelines, and they're feeling it. And as a young team like this, they're going to be heard from.
Well, they're certainly a reflection of their head coach. When he was a college player at Sacramento State, an All-American linebacker, a real dogged, determined guy, played for a former Bulldog, Steve Mishagian, for the Hornets when he was the head coach over there. Steve now at Ventura College. Ramirez with the keeper after the high snap, brought down after a gain of 4. Clock will continue, a minute 42 left as it continues ticking. Timeout is taken.
Now on the flip side of that, Dan, Sunnyside, they have a very young defense, but they have, I thought, good senior leadership. I never would have seen this coming, and this has got to be a real concern. I still think they're going to go through and likely win the NYL, but they play D2, and right now this team does not look like they're capable of playing competitive D2 football.
Then again, the way they have traditionally looked at it, this is the building block time of the year. They're in non-conference play. But once the bell rings to start NYL play is when they really want to be running on all cylinders. We'll see when that happens.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen. But postseason's still the big thing. And Selma, as tough as they are, this is a D4 school. And Sunnyside's got to do some serious reflection because their defense, they just haven't gotten the job done.
They are playing with a sophomore quarterback who's learning every week out. I believe we see Sunnyside here in 2 weeks when we are next on CMAC with, is it Frontier High School from Bakersfield?
Stockdale.
Stockdale, correction. Thanks for the correction. Stockdale High coming up from Bakersfield for that one. They'll be with us in 2 weeks' time on September the 14th here on CMAC. Ramirez with the keeper around the far side. Flung out of bounds for a big loss. Clock stops at a minute 36. No, it's going to continue running.
Yeah, the official, I guess now they're saying it's Sunnyside took a timeout. He got his knee down before he went out of bounds.
A minute 28 left on the clock here. 21-13, Selma High leading. The Bears headed for their first win of the young season after 2 defeats to begin the campaign.
Now Sunnyside, it's now 3rd down. They're out of timeouts. Selma, I imagine, is going to keep the ball on the ground, and they're going to knock about 35 or 40 seconds off the clock, but the Wildcats might get the ball back one more time to have a couple of shots.
3rd down and 14 when we resume play. Ball at the 30-yard line of the Sunnyside High Wildcats. Big night for the Bears coming up into Fresno. Say about 150, 200 of their followers have made the drive up. And as we mentioned, boy, when things are going good in Selma, they will pack Staley Stadium. They've certainly had many, many nights where they've brought more than 5,000 people in there, and it's a tremendous facility, great atmosphere in Selma. And the town just ripples with excitement when the Bears are going good.
Oh, wow.
Oh, big opening. He's got the first down, hauled down at the 10-yard line.
A little bit of misdirection. And what we're going to have now, Selma's going to have a first down, a couple of kneel downs, and this is going to be it.
Pat Angelo with the carry picks up the first down, you see there. So now, do they just do a couple of kneel downs, or they see if one of these plays can punch him in for 6 or 7 more.
I only like to kneel down on the last play of the game. You know, let one of your backs take it, get a couple of yards. You're not trying to run the score up, but I'm not a big fan of 3 or 4 kneel downs at this level.
Well, they're in the victory formation now around Joey Ramirez.
So what do I know?
There he takes the knee. They're going to let this clock run down. It's at 48 seconds and counting. As the Bears take a few steps back, now return toward the line of scrimmage.
Taking the knee there too, Dan, that just really plays havoc on your rushing average.
Well, a successful first varsity start for young Joey Ramirez tonight as he leads the Selma Bears to their first win of the season. As the clock ticks down, now inside of 20 seconds, as you see the Bears jogging off the field, doing a little bit of celebrating, and the Sunnyside High Wildcats return toward their sideline. 21-10 our score on the scoreboard here.
Just has to be a bitter defeat for the Wildcats. The way it started out, they had a festive crowd. They were loud. They had the early lead, and then it just went south on them, Dan.
The two teams line up to shake hands. At the conclusion here, as you see the players all greeting one another in a show of sportsmanship. Our score here from Sunnyside Stadium in southeast Fresno. Selma High 21, Sunnyside High 13. The Bears with their first win of the season, and we will be back with highlights and more after this pause.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly.
Welcome back here to Sunnyside High Stadium, where the Selma High Bears have ventured up to Fresno and captured their first win of the season, 21-13 over the Wildcats. Down on the field, the players, Sunnyside High's players, came down to the near sideline at about the 10-yard line to salute the band and the student rooting section on a big turnout tonight. Down on the field at the opposite end at the 25, the Selma High Bears are huddled up listening to the words of their coach, and boy, they came in with an inspired performance tonight.
Yes, they did, and they gave up those first 2 long touchdowns in the first, 3.5 minutes of the game, and it looked like they were full speed ahead, and Selma did a good job of adjusting defensively. I saw so many changes in adjustments on the defensive lineup that first half. Sunnyside got confused, frustrated, and Selma definitely won the chess match of adjustments. In the second half, they just wore Sunnyside down. They were pounded by the offensive line, and the Bears wore them down.
Sunnyside High came out explosively. The first 3 plays, they had 2 touchdowns on the board, 2 long and very exciting kick returns, set the table for 2 very long plays from scrimmage, and then we never saw any excitement out of them the rest of the night. And that's a tribute to the job done by the Selma coaching staff, the adjustments they made, and perhaps Sunnyside got away from some of those key plays that went so big for them.
I agree completely. You know, their They're big playmakers. They just couldn't get them open. They couldn't get the ball to them, and Selma had something to do with it. But Sunnyside's going to have to adjust a little bit better if they want to turn this season around. They haven't started out 0-3 under Coach Wood since he's been here.
We will see Sunnyside High again in our next CMAC high school football telecast in 2 weeks' time when they are right back here at Sunnyside Stadium. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. This is Joey Ramirez, the young sophomore quarterback for the Selma Bears, showing a real strong arm and good accuracy hitting his receivers in his very first varsity start, as he was just promoted this week from the junior varsity, having started 2 games there, and filled the shoes of his older brother, who for the last 3 years was the starting quarterback for Selma High, and now he's over playing basketball at Reedley College. The defense, there you see how aggressive they became. Sunnyside also with a sophomore quarterback, and they kept him on the run a bit throughout this ball game. Turnovers, just as Fred was saying that there hadn't been any turnovers in the game, the turnovers came. Just as I said there hadn't been any penalties in the game, the penalty flags flew. But it was an exciting night for the Selma High Bears and their fans. Hard-hitting night, but the Bears very, very impressive initially on offense with 2 long scoring drives in the first quarter, and then on defense as they made adjustment after adjustment to shut down Sunnyside High's exciting skill position players. Around the valley, some terrific games thus far tonight in addition to this one, but this is one that I think people are going to take note of. Selma High getting in the win column finally in the 2018 season with a 21-13 victory over Sunnyside High. Coach Gordon Wood generally looks at the non-conference games as the chance to fine-tune his team for the North Yosemite League season, which is still more than 2 weeks away. So it's not time yet to panic in the Selma High, Sunnyside High locker room. They have a tendency to get things worked out, as their trophy case of NYL title trophies will attest. But this one smarts tonight, one they wanted to come away with, one they felt they had the opportunity to come away with, and one they were not able to come away with.
And it doesn't get much easier. Next week they have to go out to Clovis to play a resurgent Clovis East team who is a hard-nosed running team. They run that double wing offense, and they've got a lot of work to do on defense to be able to turn this thing around.
Well, there you're seeing some of the key plays on both sides of the football and out on the field across the way. The couple hundred Selma High fans who made the drive up for this one are now down on the field and celebrating and congratulating sons, relatives, friends on their performance tonight here at Sunnyside Stadium, which netted the very first Selma High Bear win of the young 2018 season. Final score here, 21-13 Selma High. And from all of us at CMAC, glad you have been with us tonight, whether it be on AT&T Channel 99, Comcast Channel 94, or online. Our director, Terry Dolph, great job on the truck. Cesar Perez, you and the crew, outstanding, getting all the setup done and working through the heat and getting this thing prepared so that we can bring this game to all of you through CMAC. Look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time right here on CMAC. For Fred Clark, I'm Dan Taylor. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more high school football on CMAC.